Brian Beals was like a mythical character. He was known as this learned individual when I was behind the wall in the state field. Like watchful, slow to speak, quick to listen.
He was an unexpected kid. My mom didn't know she was pregnant. I really loved him. I was 14 when he was born. He was always so easy, so playful. I just loved him. When I began dating, I used to take him with me to my boyfriend's houses. The whole family would gather around him, and I would take him everywhere with me. Just loved being around him. When we moved on Eccleston, it was like one family lived on the entire block. Everyone looked out for each other. No one broke in. No one harassed you. Then drugs.
November 16th, 1988, Brian Beals is a 22-year-old college student, football player who's a law enforcement major who is home with his family for Thanksgiving. He is just around the corner from the home that he grew up in, where his family lives. The neighborhood drug dealer comes knocking on the door and threatens the people inside the house. Those drug dealers wanted Brian out of that neighborhood. As that argument is happening, a woman and her 3 little boys are walking down the street with her boyfriend. Brian, in fear of his life now, jumps in his car and takes off down the street to get out of the situation. As he's driving down the street, those guys are shooting at him. Unbeknownst to him, one of those bullets strikes and kills one of the little boys. Brian is worried for his life, he's worried for his family, and so him and his friend go back to Brian's house to check on his family and see what's happening. Moments later, the police storm in and arrest and pull Brian out of his family home and drag him out into a police car. And it would be 35 years until he would be able to come home again.
First thing I thought about is, how am I going to tell this to my mom? Second thing is, how is Brian going to handle this?
It's just this common knowledge. Like, everybody knows Brian Beals didn't commit this crime. Every door we've ever knocked on, it's the first thing people say. Everybody knows Brian Beals isn't the person who did that. Everybody knows, everybody knows, everybody knows. But none of that was ever enough to break through the system and have that be enough. And it's just been so upsetting and frustrating to see an entire community and a family just completely ignored in the face of really clear evidence. And Patty's had that evidence since before Brian even went to trial. I don't think it's an overstatement to say that Brian is free today because of Patty. Patty handed us a playbook, and it was like, here are the individuals that you need to find. Here's what they've said previously. Here are all the addresses where they used to be. And we ran with that. Meeting Patty gave us a flavor of who Brian was. Part of the materials that Patty had were not only case-related, but also writings and publications and a portion of the body of work that Brian had developed and built over these years. And it was just really impressive, and it was inspiring.
I remember the first couple of nights and just listening to the noise of the prison and hearing guys talk and hearing guys laugh and hearing guys discuss, because you can hear it all. You can't see it, it's over you, but you hear it. You like, man, this place has a rhythm. I felt like if I have to be here, then let me at least try to understand this community and where I fit into it at. Thank God my family, even when I was in the county jail, was sending me books. And then you get access to other people who have books, and you find your community there. So when people recognize you as a reader, other readers gravitate, and you want to discuss the things that you read.
I heard him talking about a book, like a little kid, not being at a table that he ain't supposed to. I kind of just hung around. He found value in being a teacher, and more or less I found value in being a student. So that was really the beginning, for me.
Travel from Pontiac to Stateville to Menard to Galesburg. Dixon had a real theater, a legitimate theater that would be recognized as a theater anywhere. I said, okay, let me try to find a group of guys that we can get together and be interested in making this a reality. It was never a time I stopped being me. My principles and values stayed intact. And I think in the beginning that served me well. Because like when we did the play Who Are You, I was kind of like trying to message to guys like, listen, stay who you are. Because staying who I was, with my principles and values, helped me create a community or enter communities and never felt like I had to compromise,
I remember a lot of the guys, the stakeholders, the prisoners, they coming to me and they said, man, I felt like I was free for the day. Thank y'all.
The Mud Theater Project is trying to do what we did in prison for the communities out here that could use our help. And also trying to inspire guys on the inside that it's a place for us to come out here and build our own organizations. It has to be a way to inspire guys, particularly creatives. Say, man, here's this place, the Mud Theater Project or the Mud Movement that I can invest in and prepare myself to, come out and join these guys and make a difference in the community and be able to reimagine what that looks like every time we embark on a new project. Not to be stuck, to be able to be nimble and, to iterate what we're doing and change on a dime and be effective wherever we operate. That's the hope.
There was a guy who got out and he'd opened a restaurant not far away. And I went and I said, hi, I'm here to tell you that my brother said hello. His name is Brian Beals. He looked at me. He said, I never thought that I would read. He gave me a book. I read that book, and I haven't stopped reading since. Your brother is a good man. And I was just proud of him to even think of doing that for others.
We chose the name Mud Theater because for many of us, from under-resourced communities, mud was our first toy. It's what sparked our creativity. Now as we journey through life,
we get our stories out the mud.